Hi guys, so we're trying to get back to normal. So it's all gone quiet for us, or will be going quiet for us now. Event season's at an end. We've got projects to do, and I really want to get back to doing these teardown videos. So we've got some interesting stuff hidden off screen and there, but I thought I'd start with this little thing. This is going to be a one-take job. I don't really want to do any editing if I have to. And this is a camera job as well, a phone camera job as well. But I thought I'd take a look at this little laptop computer thing. So it's obviously a child's machine, and if we turn it on, it's got basic speech synth music, maybe an awful display.
Please insert a disc.
So we've got these little discs, which are not discs at all, and they go in here. They appear to reset it, and then they run whatever is on the disc. Well, in case of this one, it's not going to.
Please insert a disc.
So it might be that the discs don't work on this one. Let's try another side. No.
Hello, please insert a
But you
disc.
can go into any of these discs. Oh, there you go. It finally got
Play
there.
a song.
So it's obviously not fast. And these discs are nothing more. Let's kill that. These discs are nothing more than a piece of plastic.
Hello, please insert a disc.
With punch holes out. So that's that. That's pretty much all it does. It does different learning games and things like that. So let's just get rid of our power on the bottom and have a closer look around it. So obviously you've got these discs. There is a clamshell type design. There is a little storage space for all of the discs here. And you can see there are 8 of these here, and they are double-sided, so the coding obviously changes depending on the side. I haven't worked out what the coding is, not really interested. And then we've got a list here where you can manually type the codes in. We've got a headphone jack, I would assume, and that's about it. We do have some kind of expansion jack. There's an edge connector in there. So it'll be interesting to see what this runs and if it could be made to do something else. And then obviously a battery slot there. So where do we go first? Should we go in the bottom? Let's have a look, see what's in here. So as I said, I want to try and do this as one take. It's entirely possible that Carl's going to show up at some point. But this is just I want this one done. I don't think this is particularly going to be worth the effort. I suspect this is going to be absolutely full of blob chips. Possibly some salvageable parts in here. Who knows? That screw doesn't feel great. And it'll be interesting to see what the mechanism is for reading those cards. I suspect it's just a bunch of switches with a reset that's activated when the card goes in. It would also be interesting to know what that expansion bus is for and what we can do with it. I don't know if there's a date on there. I don't see any sign of a date. So this is badged Grandstand, but if you look closely you can see it's actually Vtech. And it specifically specifies Duracell batteries there. But I don't see a date anywhere, so maybe we'll see a date when we get in a bit further. The membrane keyboard is, as you would expect, absolutely horrific. How are we doing? We've got a couple up there. One there. So my guess is the bottom contains batteries, keyboard, and maybe some power electronics for the... Oh, that screw's not good. Yes, so the batteries, maybe some power management electronics. Oh, there's obviously a headphone jack there as well. But given that card slot's in the top, I'm not expecting to see a lot in here. No plastic clips, it's too old for that. And straight away, we're stuck. So we have... let's see how we can... So we have our battery connector there. It's not a headphone jack, that's a 3.5mm power jack. And as expected, there's not much in here. So we've got the membrane keyboard. That's pressing against this, so yep, nothing special there. We've got a clamp for the membrane keyboard to a ribbon, and yep, everything is up at the top, so that's kind of what we expected. I will chuck that back on and we'll put 2 screws back in just to keep it together, because otherwise there's just going to be cables waggling everywhere. The reason I suspect that that was going on, as I say, is because the cartridge slot's up there. And these things will generally get heavily cost reduced. So I think everything we want is in here. So let's start pulling these out. So I'm expecting a motherboard and a separate LCD. And that's probably all that's going to be in here. The LCD may be salvageable. It looked like a dot matrix LCD with fairly coarse pixels, but I don't know what you'd use it for. It didn't look like the drive was particularly good either. So it's a proper cheapy job. You might be able to adjust the contrast to it somehow. I don't see any sign that you can do it software wise. But then again, there's probably no provision made for pretty much anything on this. Come out. No, that one's not going to come out. I can't even remember where I found this. I knew I spotted it and instantly went, oh, that will be a potentially fun teardown. So again, no plastic clips, that just lifts off. So I can already see we're potentially in trouble here. So we've got a flap there. We've got what looks like it's probably a ROM. Actually, I think that's the whole thing. And what have we got? I think we need to take it apart a bit more. So we've got some analog circuitry down here. Let's rip it to bits a bit more. There's whatever it is that does our card reading, so we'll have that out as well. So my hope was that this would be something that potentially we could change the ROM in and find out, you know, what processor it is. Can we make it do something else? Could we do something funny with it? I mean, it will never run Doom or Crysis, but it looks like it's all fairly heavily integrated, and I'm suspecting these are the connections for the screen. It's weird how they've made it as 2 boards, and these may well be surrounding blob chips, but it's all surface mount on the other side if it's not blob chips. Interesting that they made it using a number of subboards. So we don't look to have, oh, we might do, there might be 2 rows out. I was going to say, it doesn't look like we've got enough pins there for the keyboard, and maybe this is doing keyboard scanning. It's also entirely possible that this setup is used in several products and they just changed this board here as they need it. I realise you can't see a lot from me doing things. One more. Right, what have we got? Is everything going to come out? Oh no, there's another one there. So we've got 2 ribbons jumping over there. There's a lovely scratch on that board just there. Don't know if you'll see it. Don't even know what resolution this is filming. Right. We still don't want to come out. There we go. So let's take this out. Right, okay, well, there's the first problem we're going to have. That's a zebra strip, so that's never going back properly. And yes, it's completely blob chips. It's a really quite a different way to have the display board split like that, though. I wonder why they did that, but I don't think there's anything on there that we can really do much with. That looks like that's probably got an audio amp down there. Let's just zoom you in a bit. So we've possibly got an audio amp down there, some regulation, and then I'm inclined to think these are just display chips, and that is a microcontroller. We'll go and look that up in a bit. And there's how we do our cartridge sensing. So we've got a common contact there. That sits on there. And they're literally pressed in to indicate what cartridge it is. So that's quite boring. So yeah, there's really not much to this. I think that is a Texas Instruments microcontroller. It's not a ROM, or it could be a ROM. We've got 8 connections out there. They're not the same connections top and bottom by the looks. Although you'd have a hard time getting anything past those pins. Oh no, they do. They ever so slightly. I don't know if this will zoom in enough. You can see they do just goes down through between the pins, so that might be a ROM, I guess. Who knows? But yeah, there's probably absolutely nothing in here that's salvageable. Even the display, which I had hopes of, wouldn't really be salvageable. It's completely disposable. So yeah, if anyone knows anything more about what you could potentially have put on there, or anything in general about this machine, let me know. But that was a really short and not really very spectacular teardown. I am going to put it back together and see if there's any chance that this display will ever work again. I suspect, well, actually no, it's probably fairly tolerant, because you know these weren't particularly high quality builds. They would have been designed to be tolerant of poor assembly. But it would be interesting to know if that's a ROM. I suppose we can look at the pinouts and see what's going on there. And, you know, that might give us a clue as to what processor's on there if we dump the ROM. But I suspect it's something proprietary and completely useless. So this is now landfill, I'm afraid. Anyway, take care. Bye.